I said before that fortunately there are firms out there that are showing us that there is a different way that gets us better results. This is the last published set of benchmarking data from the AVN and the Accountants Club's benchmarking software. 209 independent accounting practices, the largest of which had 3.2 million in fees. The typical firm in the survey was 1.5 partners, 5-10 employees. So very, very representative of the vast majority of the UK accounting profession. Look at this. The median level of profit, in other words, the level of profit per partner at which fully 50% of all partners in the UK earn that figure or less, is 78,000. The upper quartile is 110. The top 10%, however, earn 132,000. And the best performing firms were in excess of £250,000. Now what's really interesting, well, a number of really interesting things. Firstly, the top firms in the survey for the 3 times that we've done it have all been sole practitioners. So there is no excuse about, yeah, but Steve, I'm a sole practitioner, we can't make a lot of money as a sole practitioner, it's just not possible. Yes, it is. The other excuse that accountants use is, yeah, but Steve, they're all in London. No, they're not. Oh yeah, but they all outsource their work to India. Well, you could do that if you choose to, but actually that isn't the reason why they're profitable either. They're doing other things. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that the only way to make £250,000 or more in profits is to be a sole practitioner. There are plenty of larger firms that obviously that make those sorts of returns as well. But what's interesting is it isn't a function of size, it's a function of mindset and action. The £54,000 a year that I used before, the £20 every 46 minutes, is the gap between what the median firm partner earns and the top 10%. Now bear in mind, these are not, this survey does not include anybody in the top 50, because it only includes firms up to 3.2 million in turnover. There's no KPMGs in there. These are independent local and regional firms, mostly single office, mostly just like yours, but mostly getting, or in some cases, getting substantially different, substantially better results. How? Well, we're going to see. You may wonder why it says MK Dons and Blackburn. If you take the 4 football main divisions and knock off the big 6, the Arsenal and Chelsea, and so you've got 86 football teams, and if you go down halfway down that list at the end of last season, you got to Milton Keynes. And what I'm saying is that the average partner is a bit like Milton Keynes Dons in terms of a football club, okay? And that if they were to get up to the top 10%, they'd still be, well, only Blackburn. It wouldn't be Man United and Chelsea, because they're not in this study. So we're not suggesting that you become the Man U's and Chelsea's of the accounting profession, that you move from becoming the Milton Keynes Dons to the Blackburns. In other words, just a bit up the league table. And the payback financially, the payback emotionally, the payback in work-life balance, as you'll hear from our various speakers during the course of the day, is profound. What's really interesting is this figure here. Fully 50%, by the way, unpublished data at the moment, but the latest summary data from the same benchmark study suggests that currently the median profit per partner is closer to £69,000. So this is a couple of years old. So what appears to have happened over the last 2 to 3 years is a 9,000 or so drop in median profits per partner. But even let's stick with the generous £78,000, generous, fully half the people. So that could be this half of the room, or it could be that half of the room, but it's half of the profession. You just may not be a representative group, you may be better than average, I suspect you probably are. But what's really interesting is just think about that £78,000 a minute. Now that £78,000 is before partner drawings, before partner salaries. It's a notional profit that we account for having taken off third-party costs, but no costs for ourselves. But if you were an entrepreneur, if you were a dragon, if you were, you know, Theo Pathetis or something, he'd look at the profit and loss account of a partnership or a sole practitioner showing 78 grand and saying, okay, so how much do you pay yourself? What's the open market salary for someone as good as you to work as many hours and take as much risk as you take? And the reality is that with on costs, it's more than 78 grand. In other words, any economist, any dragon, any sensible person, that would be apart from an accountant, would regard a £78,000 notional profit as an economic loss. Any investor would look at that and say, you're making a loss. And what are losses? Losses are a market, not you personally, I'm just saying that half of the accounting profession, could be this half of the room, could be that half, could be the great other half out there. But half of our profession is making a loss, which is the market's way of telling it something ain't working. It's the market's way of telling us you have to change. Now we hide that loss up because we pretend it's a profit, but it isn't. It Economists, dragons, investors say it's a loss. It's just accountants that say it's a profit. But not even all accountants, the switched on ones. When KPMG produced the first set of accounts, probably still may do now as a PLC, they put through the equivalent arm's length salary costs of the partners. Because that's proper accounting procedure. That's accruing for associated real costs. Because profit is the reward you get for entrepreneurialism and risk-taking, not the reward you get for putting in your 70 hours a week, slogging away, extending trial balances and finalising accounts and meeting prospects. That's salary. When you take account of that, most of the profession is making a loss, which has to be the market's way of telling us something has to change, guys. No wonder we want to make more money, because at the moment, most of us are making a loss. And that's a consequence of the fact that 52% of clients don't think that we're saving them money and 36% aren't happy with the service. And it's a consequence of the fact that most of us run our practice the way that the person who we trained with ran their practice. And they, in turn, learnt it from the person they trained with who was good friends with Dickens. Something has to change. The only question is whether you will change. You can. The profession is littered with examples, and today we'll be littered with examples of people that have changed and generated extraordinary results for them and their clients, just like you want. Some of you won't. Some of you will go back and continue to blame the world.